pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So if I may start on the record, let me just start by saying we had, some of this conversation may not have been recorded, but we were briefly discussing the independent contractor agreement to provide services, reading the meter, general duties, as well as snow removal and lawn care. I have a rough draft and I just needed to make sure that I understand the specific terms correctly. So maybe we can just send emails to me regarding making sure I can clarify the scope of work properly, and then at the next meeting we can have that contract ready to go. Okay.
For the secretary, not gonna be here tonight. So the agenda for June 10th, 2025, Francisco Board of Work.
First off is regular session minutes for May 13th.
Make a motion. I'll say it. All in favor? Aye.
Order bank reconciliation balance as of 5/31/25 for cash operating, bond and interest depreciation and meter deposits, $350,240.22. Cash operating fund balance 5/31/25 is $226,269.24.
Make a motion. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Wastewater bank rec balance 5/31/25 is $213,328.07.
Make a motion. Second it. All in favor? Aye.
Meter reconciliation report balance as of 4/30/25 with investment, $53,596.07. Meter reconciliation report balance as of May 31st, 25 with investment, $55,646.07.
Make a motion. Second it. All in favor? Aye.
Payroll for May, $2,558.36.
Make a motion. Second it. All in favor? Aye.
Claim registers, water, 5/14/5/31, $3,624.46. Water, June 1st to June 10th, $28,216.51. Wastewater, May 14th to May 31st, $1,852.92. And wastewater, June 1st to June 10th, $29,145.99.
Make a motion. That's it. All in favor? Aye.
We mailed 36 shut-off notices on May 29th. We had 7 people that were shut off this morning. 2 people had made payment agreements. Reminder that if you receive a shut-off notice, to please send proof of payment to 812-782-3573 or clerktreasurer@townofrancisco.com.
All right, new business, maintenance report.
Still not a whole lot. We changed, was it 14 new meters? 13 or 14, one of the two. Other than that, it's just pretty straightforward. Normal stuff going on.
Well, we whatever that, yeah. We're out helping read the meters again so they know where they're at. If we stay to it for another hour and a half, we've got it one day. Oh, that's pretty decent. I have to contact for third brother. In the table.
Contracts table, we had a brief conversation as I started at the beginning of the meeting. There's a rough draft in place, and there's some terms that are a little vague and ambiguous that we need to clarify so that we're all on the same page going forward, so we have a successful, lasting relationship and try to, mitigate any issues at the front end here. So we'll try to get that all ready to go by the next meeting.
Look at that.
So I sent these in your email. The first one, 100965, they had a leak. I believe you and Terry both were in on that one. They had fixed their leak and the adjustment would be $39.62. And then the second one, we had found the leak during a meter read, and then they actually had Jeremy Buck come out and fix it after being referred from Hicks. And their leak adjustment would be $67.63.
Yeah, I read one more.
Make a motion for leak adjustment for these two accounts.
I'm gonna second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, new business. The account passed 90 days overdue.
So we have 3 on that.
Two of them belong to the same person.
Yes.
And those houses are vacant.
Yes. The second and third one, then they're vacant and owned by the same person. The first one, I know the person has received their bill because the bill also, there's another bill that goes to that same address. And that person pays their bill, so I figured I'd bring it to the board's attention that we have 3 decent sized bills that are not being paid. And are continuing to run.
So we discussed this. I feel like one, I felt like both of them were definitely watching. She made multiple phone calls and.
No gravel park dropping,
No.
they shut them off, those bills are paid.
Well, I'm gonna get to that part. I completely agree with you. But, here's my question. Like I said, they're definitely dodging. I haven't reached out to her whatsoever. Sheriff notices, phone calls, there's nothing else Melissa can do. So, in my opinion, what legally can we do?
So is
Because,
the water shut off currently?
Yes.
So we can pursue collection of past due amounts.
because between these 3, that's
I would send out,
almost $2,900 every day. The people in this town, and we've all eaten. I mean, everybody in this room pays their water bill on time. I understand everybody's financial situations are different. But again, if you're having hard times, please come up here and work something out. We're more than willing to work with you. I don't care if it's $20, it's $100, this you making it not good enough, but when you start definitely dodging her. And the town has to eat that, that's just hurting everybody at this table and everybody in this room. And everybody else pays their bills on time. And I'm sorry, but it's not gonna fly with me.
Yeah.
So something needs to be done.
So the water's shut off.
Yeah, they're shut off, but
And so, we need to send them kind of final notice that if payment's not made within 30 days, 20 days, that we're gonna pursue legal remedies. I mean, I don't, I always am, a little hesitant to do that because we're throwing more money at a situation than we have collected, even if we win. And so it makes me a little nervous just because I don't want to put the town in the worst position to pay legal fees. So it's like, I'd rather give them a little more time here to see if we can collect that without engaging me, because that just puts more risk on the town that we have more damages.
their legal fees,
We can ask, but I gotta collect.
even legal fees and pay. You're gonna take out its collections. You're
I
gonna
gotta
pay, you're gonna pay our legal fees too.
And I keep adding it, but then we gotta garnish it, and people quit their jobs, and I gotta chase them down, and then redo it, and it's adds and adds a snowball, so.
That's just me.
And their kids, well,
I don't believe so.
clearly are.
So I mean, that's just kind
Oh, I understand.
another big effort, I mean, we can do it, but there's just the risk that we need more.
Oh, no, I understand.
So it's a business decision, really.
Should we send them the record letter where they have to sign it?
I would, yes.
Approve it.
Like a
If they
formal
did get it.
notice, like this is it, this is your final warning, because we're gonna move forward and then we're gonna demand legal fees and costs, and court costs.
I would say 30 days, I think it's more than enough, because we're way past 9 days.
And I would put kind of a history in there, like we contacted you on this day, these are your different bills and the dates of the bills that went out and the history, so just kind of set that forward, and then if we do need to move forward, you need to engage me, if you do that work, it saves.
Saves you
Yeah.
some time in that, okay. Can do that.
Just being fair.
I'm tired of some people taking, that's all I think, taking advantage of our good nature and everybody in this town taking advantage of this. Like you said, this is a business, it's not a person. We all have to do the right thing.
Anything else on new business? If not, we'll go to old business, water meter.
Yeah, we changed 13 and 14. There was one out on, is that 115 South? We had a leak there. We found when we were changing meters, it was on our side, so it wasn't getting sent through the meter. So that's when we had to kill the water and then change that setter out there. So hopefully that brings our usage down some too. I mean, it wasn't a tremendous leak by any means, but it was still a leak that needed addressed.
What we're doing is changing out meters that's anywhere from a million gallons. Now we're working on the 900 plus 1,000 gallons because that narrows down our water usage, because when they're up that high, a lot of that water just goes through, it's not being read. And then when we turn around and put a new meter in, which we've noticed, people come up and say, hey, by gosh, I'm getting charged more water than what I've been used to having. Well, come find out, that meter was sliding that water through there, and it wasn't reading like it's supposed to. Now it's got a new meter in it, by God, you pay for every gallon that number comes up with. We've had a lot of those that's happened, so that's why we're putting new meters in, because we're getting it narrowed down to a heck of a lot less losses than we have been over the past few years. We're narrowing it down considerably, so we need to get just a little bit tighter. That's why we're putting new meters in. Now we might be, there's 3 meters here in town that's on the old setters that we've got to shut the water off to go in. It's like they done on the one over on the other side of the railroad tracks. That's why they're on Ward, it's over there. because they had to shut the water off and break into the line that wouldn't be riser in. Well, there's 3 of them here in town that's got the old meters on them, that's got the old risers, and we gotta change them out to put that new one on, so we'll have to let the water off here in town at different locations. So we'll most likely be on another bore ordinance again here, just in the town and the other side of town, so we're gonna be bumping heads in that here sometime this coming month.
Can you get those one day?
Well,
Yeah,
God willing, yes.
yeah. What kind of headache we're running into.
That's ready to boil or be.
Oh, yeah, it'll be for the whole town, because we gotta break into that. Hell, you was on board, 5 guys, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
But yeah, that's what we're gonna run into, give you a heads up. Ain't gonna totally surprise you on something that, we already know that's gotta be done, and it's the only way to do it. I mean, some of these days on meters out here, my gosh, a million gallons plus, that's a lot of days on meter, or water board in one location. So,
Nothing lasts forever.
yeah.
Sure.
So I just want to give you a heads up that, that's gonna be happening here in this month. Now, what day, I don't know, but we'll let you know. Probably when you walk up there, and turn that tab on, you'll say, that daggone Harold, you told me it was gonna happen, and it did.
I'll send out a report to let everybody know
There you go.
when the work gets done.
And water leaks, really hadn't had any water leaks.
Knock on wood, no.
Yeah.
Besides this small one out here, but that wasn't anything major.
If it hasn't came up the surface, then, I mean, the ditches are not running home. Another thing on ditches. I talked to Mike this morning, he's gonna come over sometime, next week. He's gonna mow all these ditches, and then he's gonna come down in the fall and do the same thing all over again. Try to lower this Johnson grass and all that that's growing in these banks and in these ditches. So he said he'll be over here one day next week to take care of that, so he's working on it, ditches. But I hadn't seen no water running down the ditches other than after it rains, but been looking out the edges of the road, out where the lines are, hadn't run into anything. But I hope that what comes up the surface is good.
One thing I was gonna bring up on the maintenance report last month, it's kind of been brought to our knowledge several times by several different people over on, is it Second Street and School Street where that hole's in the road?
Yeah.
Terry wanted me to go look at that. I went and looked at that. It's kind of one of those things that we don't really know what we're going to get into till we get it dug up. It very well could be a $1,500 fix. We could get into it. We may have the street dug up for $2. It's old clay pipe.
Oh,
I just want to kind of,
it's where it dumps in. There's that intersection. It comes from the School Street down to the stop sign. That's where the hole is. You can shine a flashlight in there and it's deep. There's a, storm drain comes down and dumps into that, right there in that corner of that ditch. And across the intersection is where that hole is. So it may be interesting right there in that intersection of what all damage is in there. So it's something we gotta tackle with, because that's a fallen. There's one over here on First Street, right there in front of those house trailers. There's a big dip in the road, drops off about that far on the edge of the road. It keeps getting deeper and deeper. The flat top's basically cut loose on it. But there's holes in the streets around here that's just popping up. There's one over here on Division that we need to work on too. But maybe one thing is another.
You know, Harold, that's all because that seriously.
More or less, yeah.
And I bitched and I raised hell, trying to keep that from doing.
Well, me and Mike noticed that whenever we was
And
working on the,
they put fill sand in there. And you know, sand and water don't mix.
Yeah, the slightest blemish in that pipe,
Yeah.
you get water flowing through it, it'll just suck that sand right out of it.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, the contractor had their own inspector. I've got to get the town to hire somebody, to inspect, you know, they can get cheap.
well, yeah,
Well,
more money in their pocket.
this is what we got.
Yeah. And we're dealing with it every day.
Yeah.
Okay, get the water taken care of. The town ideas. Patients, concerns. It's a beautiful day out there.
Yes.
All right, let's switch over from, board of work to, town council. Agenda for June 10th, 2025, Francisco Town Council. CT report.
First up is regular session minutes for May 13th, 2025.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Next up is town bank rec as of May 31st, 2025, $288,189.70.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Combined bank rec for town water and wastewater, $851,757.99.
Make a motion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. And you notice I've done this here before?
Ledger for town water and wastewater for May, $851,757.99.
Second, favor? Aye.
Payroll for May, $1,783.68.
Motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Claim registers for town, May 14th to May 31st, $4,010.66. And town, June 1st to June 10th, $44,184.25.
Make a motion,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, new business, maintenance report. All right, marshal report. You ain't marshal.
The report we get, Marshall, is fiscal. We need mileage. And when he says they give so many tickets out, we need to tell me to know where those tickets are given. Because they're given out here, 10 miles out of town or Open City. But,
First, I know that ain't never clear.
well,
There's some out here on 250, but it's in the, primary and secondary
perimeter.
I think we can put the water on there, miles, you put on the car, not much you spend gas. No, it ought to be on a police report.
Yeah. It's in the records, isn't it?
How much they spend for gas?
Yeah.
It's in the town,
Yeah, it's in the town,
meter.
It's not on the sheet.
I don't know if you guys, I don't think you guys get these, do they?
No,
I don't think you got out.
it's on Gateway once.
Yeah, we didn't take the account of what he told.
Well, same thing I get.
Well, you're right up there, but you don't know.
Well, I don't know, it's in here,
Well, we don't.
but you can put it on the line and you can look at it.
I don't know. My line's right here.
You say technology is not your friend,
You know,
I don't blame them right there.
I got that stuff just coming out when it rises, so
how many years was that?
in a few days.
I've seen it around.
I really got it.
We'll see if you can work on that for you, Gary. All right, moving on to fire department.
So for the month of May, we had 9 calls of service. We had 1 firefighter complete his EMR training. Our ISO score should become public very soon. Once it is public, we'll post it on our Facebook page. On June 3rd, Derek and Harold flushed all the hydrants and tested them, which will help improve our ISO score in the future. Our chief will be taking the mandatory chiefs class in August, and then members of our department are going to be taking hazmat awareness, ops, and firefighter 1 and 2. That begins in September. Our chili supper this year is going to be on October 18th at the Lions Club here in town. And then we had a couple of things that we would like to ask about. Item 4.1 in the protection contract that we set down and signed at the beginning of the year. It states that the town is responsible for the maintenance costs on the trucks. So we would like to reallocate our $6,500 budget that we pay for maintenance
That comes out of
to
town.
training and gear for our department.
We asked about having a meeting at the last town board meeting, and, I'm gonna look at the draft minutes. Well, that's, shit, that literally word for word. Well, that's not on this one, I'm just saying, I'd like to read it, so I can actually see it.
I understand.
It states that the town is, owns and responsible for trucks. 14.1.
It's 4.1.
Oh, 4.1. But we have a line item that comes from the township money that's for truck maintenance.
We're currently eating that cost, but the way the contract is, that's not how it should be.
What are they doing?
They've all been maintained in the last 6 months.
So you don't need anything that's.
We're not currently, no. It's already been paid for.
Let me look at the person for, I mean, this is no offense, I want to make sure that,
No, I understand.
I mean, I don't want to. I've spoke with a couple different people, I've reached out. I've had some people in the fire department community tell me we need to get our own lawyer to moving forward. I don't want to go that route, because that's money we don't have. Might have to lose elsewhere. So we asked last meeting, and we got nothing back. We could discuss it there. And I went to try to go see you, I got told I can't use the building.
My schedule's back to back. I'm extremely booked and I'm working very long hours, 6 days a week. If anybody wants an appointment with me, you cannot just walk into my office. I don't know very many lawyers you just walk in and just be like, I'm here, I want to demand this now. So if anybody wants me, you have to schedule an appointment with me and send me an email, let me know these are the things I want to discuss with you. So I'm prepared to talk with you. and you're on my calendar. You cannot just walk in. And for safety reasons too, because I had a lot of complex litigation that makes people pretty mad at me. We've already had to call the sheriff because I had, an issue at the building. You cannot just come to the building and just walk in and just expect to get
I
access.
tried calling too, and left a voicemail, and still got no answer back. And
I have
was-
a lot of people working for me, so if you call and set an appointment, it's not gonna be a problem. You call and,
Well, if I can't get a hold of someone to set an appointment, then
how
I
many
ask them to
times
call.
did you call?
I just called once, and then I went up there twice. The first time, they said that they'd come get you, and then they never come back to the door. And then the second time, when the gentleman opened the door and said that we couldn't just be there.
Mhm.
So it's hard to make an appointment if I can't get a hold of anyone. And then I brought it up to Terry, he said, just get a hold of you, so I'm still not getting an answer.
My office is open 9 to 5, but we don't take just walk-ins for safety reasons. Okay? And plus I'm booked.
Anything else on the fire department?
We also wanted to make it aware that we are looking at trying to figure out what our portion of that lip tax is. That lip tax, from what has been explained to me, is for public safety, which is fire, law enforcement, and medical, EMS. Terry was unaware that we should be getting any of that money. It should be split between the police department and the fire department. And from what we can find, that money's already started being paid out to the town. That's monthly payments. I think when we figured it up, we're Paid looking, out who's paying who?
It's a tax.
It's that lit tax that they
It's
just,
coming from the county.
when we figured it up for the year, we're looking almost just over $7,000 that we should be getting part of. Or no, that was, I think, if we split it in half, that was just over 7,000, what the department should be getting out of that. I think, if I understand it correctly, it's something that just started and might just actually start being released this year.
I think it just started maybe a month or two ago. I had to somewhat look it up whenever I all of a sudden got a payment notice of it, because I was like, what's this money for? But, this already it got deposited into our account, and I haven't got into much digging into it, but
And for the year, the town should be getting over 15 grand paid out.
A year?
For the year, yeah. Paid out monthly.
If I remember correctly, you had to create an ordinance for that money.
I just have no office.
Oh, yeah, I remember, that's the name. I think we're telling us.
We'll check into it.
Yeah.
How's that truck coming along?
The brush truck, the tank is ready to come out. We had, Sully was gonna come lift it out for us with one of their trucks. But, Jacob had the back here, he's using it for the rock and stuff over there, so we had to reschedule that. Other than that, once that tank's out of the way, we can get the truck down to Jacob so he can make the cross member for the, drive shaft, and then it slowly start putting it back together. There's a couple of different ways we can go with the tank and pump and all that. So we haven't nailed that down yet. We kind of need to see what space we have between the wheel wells. Other than that, there's not much, there's not really any body modifications, so once we get that tank free and out of the way, it should come back together pretty quick. It should purchase in all the pieces. I think the tank was part of the biggest expense, and then those little miscellaneous stuff that you can't always account for every little piece.
Did you get the trash pump?
Yeah, the pump I'm looking at, it's a fire rated pump. It's a 2-inch, I don't remember what the PSI, all that is off the top of my head. But it bolts up to a Harbor Freight Predator engine, which those are pretty cheap. And then there was the electric start kit to put on that engine, so you have the electric start and full start. And then we were looking at upgrading the lighting, the headlights on that truck. As old as it is, they're not that great. We found some aftermarket replacements that goes right into the housings, no modifications, plug and play. Then scene lighting, stuff like that. We can get LED pot lights off Amazon pretty cheap. And we have a lot of the material to reuse from what we've taken off the truck for creating the crosswalk and all that. We can reuse quite a bit of that.
Hopefully you'll have it done by fall.
Hopefully, if we can get the ball moving, we kind of, with all the classes and everything else, we kind of backed off on it. Everybody's kind of getting burnt out.
We've also been cancel on time people that said they would help with the name off too.
Yeah, rescheduling and stuff. Things falling through.
Does the truck run drive?
Yes, you can get right in it, hit the key and it fires right up. It runs amazing. It's,
You can't go a long distance with it. I mean, like, take it, I just know, because.
No, but
No, yeah.
I mean, if it'll run a drive, I don't care really about any evening after work hours. I mean, you can run it to my shop, we can pull the tank out of it in a heartbeat if, you
Yeah,
can pull the tank out.
the tank's free, it's just sitting there. There's only 4 bolts on the tank end, which was surprising. We pumped 750 gallons of water.
Yeah.
For little, I don't even think they were 1/2-inch bolts.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if there's one evening or something you're free, if you want to get hold of me, I don't care that we can just run it out there and we can yank that tank out of it real quick.
That work?
Anything else? Thank you. We sat around talking about having a town yard sale. Francis can do it. I hope Francisco can. Sometime in July. That'll give you over a month to get things set up. If anybody wants to get rid of anything, whatever day we throw it on.
Well, I suggest we stay away from the 5th. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the 19th, maybe.
19th.
What do you think?
19th.
That I would request that after the yard sales, everybody remove everything from their yard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also,
tires and stuff like that.
at the school, anybody who lives in Francisco or went to school there are a lot of desks left at the school. And anyone that lives here or that went to school there can come by and pick up a free desk. You know, you have to call my office and arrange to get in the building. With my staff, we're open 9 to 5, but you can come by and pick up a free desk for your grandkids. We have some larger desks downstairs too. Some of them, if you're lucky, have people's names on them. Maybe one of the famous people from Francisco, I don't know. But
I would tell my daughter that she did go there, so she's like, hey, I'm gonna get my own.
I'm with the orange one with the green chair. But yes, if anybody would like to call my office and make arrangements to pick up a desk, that would be fine.
This has hazard from the county. What's that over?
I had got this sent, through the email, it's from the county saying we have signed this before and, they need it signed and then I have to send it back to John. I sent it an email. I believe 2 days ago. While I was trying to get everything ready for the meeting.
Who sent this to you?
I can't remember offhand. Stephanie McKinney.
She's the EMA director.
Yeah. The EMA, yeah.
Letter for Navy.
Apparently it's required by FEMA every 5 years.
You got enough of that.
Go to,
Yeah.
Wait. You don't think they spotted your noggin down there?
Is there something going on over there?
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with this. I just can't recommend signing something that I just have thrown in front of me without
Do you have?
looking at it.
I don't have that done till,
September 3rd.
No, that's. She just said that it be signed this year, I believe.
I like to.
Yeah.
I can reach out to her and find out exactly what this is. I'll be able to contact her.
Yeah, they're contact.
Oh, so, yeah.
She's really good about,
If you have any questions
oh,
about anything.
that's fine. I just, like I said, like Renee said, we'd like to know exactly what we're signing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go with that information.
We'll table that.
The next meeting.
Okay, going on business. Yard team mode.
Those, some of the only two that I recommend, see him run with the two abandoned, he's down here in one kind
2 weeks ago, I drove around, there were several yards. I mean, several. But here in the past couple of weeks, it's narrowed down to 2.
they're abandoned.
Nobody, yeah, they're abandoned. Well, that's pretty good in a little town like this. We need to do something with that and abandoned properties. Both those are the same too.
We're working on the abandoned properties at the law firm. I have a list. We're prioritizing by starting out focusing on 2. One of them, I think we're gonna have to provide notice by publication, unfortunately. I don't think we can get around it, to the owner. So the 2 addresses we're starting, especially since it's gonna be published, it's gonna be public. are 301 North Cross Street, 108 North Third Street. We're starting there and working on the format, and we're gonna come after everybody else on the list too. So these are the first two where we're starting. So we've been actively working on that this week. So
So it's just a process, it takes time.
no, we pretty much got the notice ready to go out to the homeowners. We can start the process.
I'll set that.
There's the second one.
The first one, the first two I'm prioritizing, 301 North Cross Street, 108 North Third Street. And then there's more here. I guess I can just kind of go through the list, give everybody a heads up that we're coming for you, so you might as well address it now. Or you're just gonna be facing legal fees, because I am gonna come after legal fees. 303 North Division Street, and I repeat, I will not drop it without legal fees being paid. 502 West School Street, 803 West School Street, 107 North Cross Street, 405 West Main Street, and I think 6872 East State Road 64 maybe? I'm not sure. I have to clarify that. So those are the ones actively on my list. So that's up.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, Gov website project update.
So the new website has been launched on June 2nd, and most of the information has been updated, but there is still several pieces of information I need to add, and new pages on the website that I need to add. So it is up and running, and I will post the link on Facebook for the new website.
Anything else on all this? Everybody speak at once. All right, town ideas. Hello, Jerry.
Thank you, town, for the rock. It's broken on the street. They got 5th Act, they packed more rock than you put.
Hey. You didn't say how much. I put gravel on there and I grade that down just as smooth as they can.
put gravel on
No, I did.
Harold did.
I did it all.
He called me and told me when he did it too.
there. What's going down the ballpark?
Do what?
How come you didn't grade it on the ballpark?
I got it. I didn't want to tear all that good looking grass down through there.
Like the street.
Well, I know it's a street.
They don't have grass right now. Don't have grass.
Ain't nobody driving down there.
Yeah, there is.
Well, I seen a couple trucks down there. I'll take that back.
But I don't want to think you could do what rock.
But I made that go sure it was going to fall on there before this meeting.
I'm afraid of that.
Oh, there was another one that, where you had the water right there on the South Division.
Yeah, I put rock in that one too.
We ever going to get that passed or anything?
That's scheduled now.
That's
It's
scheduled.
fixed, yeah.
When is that scheduled to be?
I don't recall the exact date, but I believe don't hold me to this, but I'm 99% sure it's gonna be here in the next, I think it was within the next 2 weeks, something like that. They're gonna do that one and the patch on Collins Street, where Mike Dunning water tap across the road.
And I fixed that the other day when I fixed Jerry's. So I nailed all 3 of them. So I'll go back and complain. I ain't heard that since then. But you're the only compliment. Okay, patrons' concerns? Well,
Actually, yeah, the ball field. It has new ownership now. I would like to publicly say that if you're going to let your children play down there, please make sure they're being respectful. Almost every door was kicked in. Multiple pieces of equipment were found in the field. We also caught a couple of kids spray painting the back of the only standing dugout. It has since been repainted. The parent took them and got paint and made them fix it.
Fix it all. So,
You
But
didn't run over the mower, did you?
no, but I almost hit two bats.
Yeah, there were some baseball bats that were thrown out in the field, and we hit a
We hit probably
fair
every
number
ball
of,
that field had.
baseball and softballs.
Well, I did too when I moved.
Who's the big ones? You guys?
I never see balls show up so far. That long for slumming.
Hit a softball with a mower, those things fly.
You never saw me swing a bat, Harold.
Do what?
You never saw me swing a bat.
We got new locks put on all the doors, we got, keep outsides put up on all the doors for the concession stand, the wooden shed and the equipment shed. So all that's been re-locked. We're gonna try to get down there and get the field and everything mowed down and cleaned up this week, with all this rain.
It's on our schedule for Thursday. Get it moved down. Not very good.
With all this rain, we kind of got slammed trying to get caught up now that it's starting to dry out. We will be planning on spraying the driveway going down, and then the gravel plot is behind the concession stand, everything there, the batting cages. Try to get all that cleaned up and back to rock. There's what else was on that? I reached out to a couple people about the tree that fell there on the 2nd Street. I haven't heard back from them yet. I know one's gone down and looked at it, but he hasn't told me anything other than that he's looked at it. I fixed the fence there at the intersection. Got all that put back together. We've also noticed that there's been the big gate going into the field. Someone keeps opening that up, and they're driving something through there. It's not a car, but maybe a side-by-side golf cart or something. You can see the tracks going through the field. Luckily, they haven't left ruts or tore anything up or anything like that. We're gonna get a pole put in so we can block that big gate. But like she said, we want kids to come down there and play. So, as much damage as there already is, we don't need any extra damage. Right now, there is no money for that field. The locks and everything that we put on, we paid out of pocket for. We're hopefully gonna get a Facebook page up and going here soon, so we can post updates and stuff as we go. What else is? There's something else I wanted to say, I don't remember what it was now. I'll remember what it is later on, when nobody's around. We just asked to bear with us as we try to get it cleaned up. It's gonna be a long, slow process. My goal is to have it cleaned up, all the brush and stuff removed, and looking pretty good by the end of the summer. Because it's just gonna be on our free time, and that's also cleaning out the concession stand, because that's pretty bad inside there. That's gonna take quite a bit of time to get all that cleaned out, and essentially that whole building has to be gutted. It's real bad inside there. There was right now, that's all I got off the top of my head.
If there's nothing else, let's call the meeting adjourned. Is everybody coming?
That's the other thing I was thinking about. Oh, you already got it.
So I will contact Civic Road and see if they can get a digital version to
Man, be
you.
careful.
Otherwise, we're just like scanning in the book, which would take a while, so hopefully we have it.